Hey everybody, it's Chris. Welcome to a very early February book haul. I did technically buy all of these books in January, but they all just came today. And I had already done a book haul in January anyway, so I just saved it for February. And I was gonna wait a little bit longer to do this, but I just got the books and I couldn't wait to open them because there are so many books in this haul that I just cannot wait to read, and I cannot wait to show you. So let's begin. The very first book is actually the only book that I didn't buy online. Last weekend I was in Target because I was looking for a present for my dad for his birthday, which was yesterday, Groundhog Day / Super Bowl day. A little about me, I don't really care about football or the Super Bowl or any sports at all. But yeah, I was in Target and I came across a copy of this book, and I've seen it everywhere and I've heard so many great things about it, and I really want to read it. And that is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. Now, they didn't have Hollow City. I probably would have bought Hollow City, the sequel to this, if I had seen it there, but they were apparently out of them. And this was the only copy left of this one, so I was just like, I'm here, I might as well buy this, because I've been really wanting to read it. I really love books that incorporate photography in any way, and these have pictures in them that remind me of actually my favorite photographer, the photographer that my high school photo teacher actually introduced me to, that kind of got me into photography in the first place, and that is Ralph Eugene Meatyard. I'll show you a few of his pictures real quick. And yeah, his pictures kind of remind me of the pictures that are in this book. And I just really love books that relate to photography in any way whatsoever, like the book I'm reading right now, House of Leaves, which I'm almost finished with. Kind of talks about photography and filmmaking a little bit, and that's really nice. The last book that I read that had dealt with photography, and I'll just give a little plug here, is a book called In the Shadow of Blackbirds by Kat Winters. I definitely recommend that book. It's a YA book that's kind of like historical fiction. Well, it is historical fiction, and it's a really unique type of YA book. All of the relationships in that book, all of the things that happen in the book, the plot is they're all really unique compared to a lot of the other YA fiction I've seen come out recently. And it deals a lot with spirit photography, which is definitely something interesting to me. I actually wrote for my history of photography class in college, I wrote this little like 10-page paper on spirit photography. And yeah, so that book is just really good. I definitely recommend you go take a look at that if you have not heard of it. Anyway, this book, I'm really excited to read this. The concept seems really interesting to me, and it's just a book that I can just tell I'm going to like. I mean, it involves in photography, it involves an abandoned orphanage, and I love abandoned buildings. I love abandoned anything, and the story just seems really interesting, so I can't wait to read this. The next 3 books are books that I have been waiting for a few weeks now. I first saw Reagan at the Peruse Project talk about these quite a lot, and she like showed the covers of them, and ever since I saw the covers of them, I've been wanting them so badly, and then I heard what they were about, and I wanted them even more, and I've heard so many people talk about them, and I've heard so many people talk about the author and say so many good things about him and his writing and these books specifically, and I just cannot wait to start reading these. These actually came from, hold on, Westminster, yeah. I live like right in the center of Maryland, like right between Baltimore and Washington, D.C. And Westminster is maybe like 50 minutes away, and yet the books took 2 weeks to get here, but whatever. I'm just glad I found them in these covers, and they are the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. It is The Final Empire, The Well of Ascension, and The Hero of Ages. These covers are some of the most beautiful covers I have ever seen, ever. Probably my favorite covers that I've ever seen, ever. And the story just sounds so completely interesting. And like I said, I've heard so many good things about Brandon Sanderson's writing with like The Arithmetist and Steelheart and these books. And I've heard that like this main character in these books is like a criminal or something, or not necessarily a good guy, and it's a fantasy series. And I haven't read that much fantasy recently, and I really want to get back into reading more fantasy because fantasy is freaking awesome. And these books just seem so freaking awesome, and I'm so excited to read these. They're really thick, but I think I'm going to be able to get through them really fast. I think as soon as I'm done reading all of the books that I was planning on reading in February, I'm probably going to start on the series right away and just marathon all the way through it. The next book is actually another book that I've been hearing a lot about on BookTube, and it seemed really interesting to me. I'm not, like I said in the past, I'm not completely into YA fiction and like romantic YA fiction, but this idea of this book seemed really interesting to me. It's one of the only YA books I've seen recently that really caught my attention, and that is Across the Universe by Beth Revis. Basically, it's about this girl who is like on a spaceship called the Godsend or something, and everybody is supposed to be asleep, but she's woken up early and she doesn't know why, and that concept just sounds really interesting to me, and it's named after my favorite Beatles song and a movie that I absolutely love. I mean, obviously there's no relation to either of those things, but I really wanted to pick this up because I really do like this cover actually, and I really like the way the concept sounds, so I thought I'd give it a try. These next books are books that came from the book outlet. The first books I've ever ordered from the book outlet. Alright, the first book in here is another Brandon Sanderson book, The Arithmetist. Just like with the Mistborn trilogy, I've heard so many good things about this, and this book sounds crazy interesting. Kind of sounds like Chalk Zone, which is a show that I really used to like when I was younger, but more fantasy-ish. And the world in this is just supposed to be really, really interesting and really awesome. So this is another one I can't wait to read. Brandon Sanderson is an author that I can't wait to read this year. The next book in here is I Am Legend by Richard Matheson. Now, I really like horror, and I've never read anything by Richard Matheson before, and I feel like that's not a good thing. And I thought I'd start with the classic, I Am Legend. And it says on it, now a major motion picture starring Will Smith. I do like the movie. The movie is supposed to be pretty different from the book, I think. And like it says even on the back cover here, it says, I think the author who influenced me the most as a writer was Richard Matheson. Books like I Am Legend were an inspiration to me, and Stephen King said that. You know how much I love Stephen King, so I have to read stuff by Richard Matheson. The last book in the book outlet package is Mystic River by Dennis Lehane. Dennis Lehane wrote the book that the movie Shutter Island is based off of, and Shutter Island is one of my favorite movies ever. I think it's just beautiful the way it's shot especially, and I just really love Leonardo DiCaprio and Martin Scorsese and Marco Ruffalo, and I just love that movie a lot. The cinematography is some of my favorite cinematography ever, and I love the soundtrack. I love pretty much everything about it, and I kind of wanted to read the book for that, but since I know the movie so well, I thought the book might not excite me as much as it could. But there's another movie out that's supposed to be really, really good called Mystic River, which this book is the basis of, and this book is supposed to be really good, and so I really wanted to read something by Dennis Lehane, and since I haven't seen Mystic River, I definitely wanted to read this and see if I liked his writing style. It's basically about this group of friends, and this one boy from that group of friends when they were younger like gets into a car and something like terrible happens to him, and the three friends are never like the same, and then it skips to like their adult life. The movie is supposed to be amazing. It's won like a ton of awards, and I really think I'm gonna like Dennis's writing style. And I have one last book in here. This book was actually written by a creative writing teacher I had in college named Paul Jacksunas, and it's called Hidden, and I really liked him as a teacher. He was a really great creative writing teacher, really challenging, and I really wanted to read the only book that he's got published. It's actually got pretty bad reviews on Goodreads. Not a lot of people have reviewed it, but of the people that have reviewed it, it's not that great sounding. But I just really wanted to read something by him. I feel like I'll like it more because I know him, and I know what his voice sounds like. I'll definitely be hearing his voice while I read this because he read stuff to us a lot, and he has a really soft but kind of distinctive voice when he's reading. I'm going to read the back because I'm honestly not really sure what it's about. As unnerving as it is mesmerizing, Hidden is an evocative, emotionally charged domestic drama, a willful and traumatized woman's painful search for the truth about the man who assaulted her one summer night. 6 years after her attack, Maggie Wilson receives a call from the prosecutor who put her husband in jail after Maggie identified him as the man who nearly killed her. Told that another inmate has confessed to the crime and that her ex-husband will be freed, Maggie plunges into memories of her stormy marriage to her college sweetheart, Nate Duke. Secluded in an old farmhouse that was her marital home, Maggie pores through trial transcripts, old journals, and photo albums, recreating the history of their courtship and trying fruitlessly to remember the events of that fateful night. Written in spare, elegant prose, Paul Jacksunas' novel reads like a waking dream as Maggie is tormented by the question, was it Nate, or was it a stranger who seems to know intimate details? And what will it cost her to discover the truth? A work of searing suspense, Hidden is ultimately about a woman confronting the betrayal of her body and the ambiguity of her mind. And there's a special bonus feature inside, a conversation with Paul. He never even talked about this book when we had class, and I kind of like that he never like advertised himself to us or anything. I just kind of looked him up online to see if he had anything published, and this is the thing I found, and I'm definitely going to give this a shot. And I'll tell you what I think about it when I'm done with it. I mean, it's a very, very unknown book, so maybe I'll like it and think you all should read it. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, those are all the books that I have right now. I'm probably not going to be buying any more books anytime soon. I'm actually really going to try hard not to buy any more books until May, which is when my birthday is. I have like, including all of the books I just got and all the books from my last book haul, I have like 30 books that I have to read, and I think I can definitely finish them before May. So I might be buying a little bit more before May, but I definitely want to finish all of the books that I have to read before I get anything new. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you've read any of these books, have anything to say about any of them, please let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you want to see more. I'm going to be having a review on Dr. Sleep by Stephen King coming out very soon. I also have an original tag idea that I'm going to be putting out pretty soon. I'm going to be creating an entire video about Stephen King books. basically giving my recommendations for which ones I think people should read. The last time I mentioned this in a couple videos, there actually seemed to be a pretty decent amount of people that seemed really interested in that idea. So I'm really excited to do that. I'm going to try to get that out really soon. I'm going to be doing a House of Leaves review as soon as I finish it. And I'm also going to be doing this tag that was just created by a booktuber named Turtle Sympathy. And I can't wait to do this tag. I am a complete Disney fanatic, and he created the Disney Princesses tag, and it's actually a really creative tag. And I'm really excited to do that. I'm going to be doing that at some point too. So yeah, look out for all of that. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you very soon.